if you pull out a tape measure to the average age of 85 and then you look at where you are on it at that moment in time and look at what you've got left, it kind of brings the reality of how short life actually is. And especially when you start to look near the end and knock off some of those years, because you're probably not going to be as active and as fit as you'd want to be doing all the stuff that's on your bucket list. And that analogy really, really impacted me over the years. Like, I thought about it all the time, and I've told people it so many times over and over again when I've wanted people to kind of just live the dream or take the moment in time, grasp it with both hands. But it never really seems to hit home for other people. It did for me, but it just didn't click for a lot of people when I tell them. And then the other night, I was watching something, and I was watching this guy on YouTube, I think, and he said something that even shocked me, despite the fact that I think I've always had that mindset of grabbing life. But it really kind of shocked me. And he said, you've got 80 summers. And I said to Reese, I've got to do a vlog on this. I've got to, because I can't believe how much that impacted me just hearing that. You've got 80 summers. From the moment you're born till the moment you die, on average, 80 summers. And none of us even know at any point when those summers are going to run out, do we? You know, we might only have 5 summers left. We might only have 10 summers left. The age I am now, I've got about 40 summers left if I'm lucky. And when you think about it like that, it just changes your viewpoint. If Reese were here now talking to you, he'd just tell you, like, dump everything you've got, jump in a van, take off on the road, put a backpack on, jump on the next plane, whatever. It'd just tell you to leave everything behind and live your life, because we're not here that long. We're not on this earth that long. And I get that life don't really work like that for most people. You know, most people don't think like that, and they want to be able to do things in a way that feels more comfortable, I suppose. But I wanted to do this vlog because I just want, I suppose, to give you a bit of a shock tactic, I guess. I want you to think about your life and where you are right now, and the things you've got on your list for when you retire, or for when you've got a bit more money, or when the kids are grown up, or whatever it might be. And I want you to just think about it for like 5 minutes. 80 summers. How many have you done already? How many of those have you got left? I suppose most of you at home watching, a lot of your lives, not all of you, but I think a lot of you will probably mirror the life that I had before we started travelling. In that, I got married when I was young, I had kids when I was young, I got a house, bought and sold houses, moved up to the next biggest house and the next biggest house and all that type of thing. And I've pondered over the years so many times, like, why I did that. Were that my ambition? Were that, and looking back, it was, I know it was, that was the only thing that I wanted to do, was to get married, have children, settle down, get a little terraced house, and hopefully work my way up into a bigger house. But when I look back and I reflect on why that were my ambition, I think it's that I just didn't know there were anything else out there. And I don't know if that's to do with the era that I grew up in, or whether that's to do with the economic background, the money that we had. I don't really know, I'm not really sure. And I don't know if it really matters, to be honest, at this point. But I did end up on my own with 2 children at quite a young age. And at that point, that's when I decided I needed to get an education. I wasn't that clever at school. So I went off to do college, and I went off to do university, got a degree. When I finished my degree, I wanted to do a master's, but I couldn't afford to do that. I knew I needed to start earning money to be able to raise my kids and be able to give them things and take them off on holidays and do all that sort of stuff. And I did all the stuff that everybody else does. and I raised them in a stable home in one place, didn't move around too much. We went off on holidays. I got a good job after I got my degree, started earning money, started working my way up the ladder. And I did all of that quite late in life. I wasn't going straight from 18. So I was a bit older and I had to fight a bit harder to be able to get those job promotions. And I had to work probably twice as hard as anybody else because there were people younger than me coming in for the same job. And that meant that I wasn't at home as often as I'd want to be to look after my kids. But even though I hated that, I just thought that's the way it is, isn't it? You know, you want to give them what you need to give them. You want to put your kids first. You want to prioritise what they need. You've got to go to work. You've got to work hard. You've got to earn the money. You've got to put in the extra hours. And so I did all of that. And it wasn't that long ago, I was actually doing a birthday card for my daughter. And I was looking through some old pictures of me holding her when she was a baby. And I actually ended up filling up when I was looking at them because I just thought to myself, I don't think I enjoyed it as much as I should have done. I don't think I savoured the moments when they were little. And with my memory as well now, there's a lot of that that's gone out of my memory. And I can't even look back and think to myself, but I gave it all I'd got when I was there. Do you know, like I really made sure that we enjoyed every moment when I was there. Because I don't think that I really did. I think I spent a lot of time panicking that I had to get them to bed at a certain time. I had to get them up, I had to get them to school, I had to do their homework with them. I had to do well in my job. I had to prove myself to people around me. And I just think now, looking back, why? Why did I spend all that time doing that stuff? And you could say to pay your mortgage, to, you know, but does it really matter? Is there a different way? Was there a different way? Could I have done things differently looking back? And there are things that I would have wanted to do differently looking back, for sure, absolutely for sure. And my kids now, grown up, will say to me, oh, I wish you'd have just taken us off abroad, Mum. I wish you'd have just moved. I wish we could have lived abroad. At the time, they didn't want to do that. At the time, when I thought about doing stuff like that, they were like, no, I want to be with my friends, you know, I want to go carry on with my friends at school. And, you know, but now, they say, I wish you'd have just done it. I wish you would have been the adult and made the decision and taken us off and done things differently. But I think back in my era, you didn't know you could do things differently, and that's where the world has changed a little bit now. The internet's out there now, and you can see things, you can see how people live differently, and you can do things differently, and there are options. And you might ask why I'm sat here, rightfully, lecturing at you about this stuff. But it's because if you've got a dream, if you've got something that you want to do, somewhere you want to go, something you want to achieve, I don't want you to leave it to chance. And leaving it in life till next year, or when you retire, or in 5 years' time, or whatever it might be, it's leaving it to chance. Because you don't know if you'll be here in that time. And I'm not saying up sticks and dump everything. If that's what you want to do, great, do it. But a lot of people don't feel they can do that, and they want to do things in a safe way. And I get that. But there are ways of doing it, you know. We've talked in other vlogs. Me and Reese were in debt up to his eyeballs, and you know, it took us a long time to get out of that. And during kind of doing that, we talked a lot about how have we ended up in this position, why are we doing this, why are we working, both of us, full-time jobs, full-time wages, and yet feeling like we've got nothing, paying for a car to get us to a job, to get us back home to the house that we pay for, that we sit in for all of about 2 or 3 hours and enjoy, when actually the rest of the time we're just helping the kids get their own work done and getting everything ready for the weekend and going out and visiting family because you've not had time to do any of that, and never having time to do the hobbies that we wanted to do, like sitting down and stitching, making clothes, doing the things that we wanted to do. We never had any of that type of time to do any of that stuff. That's why we made the decision to change things a bit. I want you to think about and take away, hopefully, from this, that you can make changes, and you can do it in a safe way. You can do it in a way that is stepped one bit at a time. Whatever is holding you back, whether that be debt, whether that be feeling like you've got expectation on you from other people, feeling like there's responsibilities you just can't step away from, you know, with the kids being young and feeling like you can't move them and do things with them. Rethink it a little bit, because there are options and everything in life is a choice. So I aren't saying dump everything. I'm not saying you have to make rash choices. I'm not telling you to do anything. I just want you to think about it a little bit. If you're sat watching van lifers or other people that travel, whatever it might be, on a weekly basis when you come back from work, thinking, I wish I could do something like that. I had the same life as what you've probably got now, the same responsibilities, the same debts, the same worries, the same hopes and dreams. And all that changed, and it really changed because, not because of a decision really, if I'm completely honest, or not like a conscious decision to just decide to do something differently all of a sudden. It changed because Reese couldn't fly. He's not good on aeroplanes. And we wanted to take the kids over to Ibiza and travel with them and show them a bit of a different side of life. And up until that point, I'd always gone on like 2-week holidays. You know, jump on an aeroplane, go and stay on 2-week holiday. I never did like hotels, posh hotels, I wasn't like that. I always liked to be a part of the community when I got there and try and fit in as much as I could. But I had a little glimpse of different life, and that's all I ever did. And then this one summer, Reese said, we can drive to Ibiza, you know. I don't have to get on a plane if I don't want to. And I just said, oh, okay. All right, then we'll do that. And so we got a van and we jumped in it and we drove to Ibiza with the kids in the back. And it was that moment that everything changed for me. It was that moment that completely opened my eyes up to different communities, different ways that people live, different options that you have in life, that there's a bigger world than the estate that I grew up in as a kid or the terrace street that I lived on in my first house. That there's a bigger life and more to life than buying the next biggest house or getting the next promotion at work. And you know, there's more to me than just a title at work. You know, being a manager of something and working your way up. And it was that moment that dawned on me. And that's the moment where we decided and we made a choice, we made a decision that we wanted to live a different life one day. And we knew that would take us time, and it has. It's taken us just over 10 years to get to the point where we wanted to be, and we're still not quite there yet. But we started to make decisions and changes. And really, coming full circle back on where we started with this, that's what I want you to think about. That's what I want you to take away. Don't wait. Start making choices now. Start looking at the changes that you can make now. And they might be small baby steps, and that's fine. But go back to what I said right in the beginning. 80 summers. 80 summers. You're probably halfway through them by now, if not more. How many have you got left? How many summers have you got left to keep delaying that dream and that bucket list? And what if tomorrow something scares you enough, like it has done with me with my health? What if something scares you enough to just think, I wish I'd have done that sooner, because I might not have that many summers left. And take from this what I've taken from the fact that I've got all these health problems. Life's short, and I feel like I've got a bit of a blessing in these health issues that I've got, because I see life in a different way. I see all the small things in life, all the small things that bring joy. And I know that when it comes to that time where, and I'm not trying to be miserable here, but where I'm not going to be here anymore, I know that I'm going to want to step one more time on the sand, one more time in the sea, one more time sat in nature. And so I'm making it happen now. You might wonder why I'm even bothering to do this, right? And I've thought about how do I put this across in the right way? Because there are some people that I know watchers that I've particularly got in mind that I think would take something really positive from this and kind of need to hear this message. But I also know that there'll be other people sat at home that need to hear this message. But I also know that it'll be really triggering for some people in thinking, well, what are you trying to tell me? You don't know what's going on in my life, and I don't. But my whole life has been about helping people. My whole career has been about helping people and working with people that are struggling to really either know what they want out of life or have taken the wrong turn in life, who wish they could do things differently, who haven't ended up where they want to be, people who have struggled with their mental health. And a lot of it has come down to not even the fact that they've got restrictions on them, stopping them from doing things, but more because they don't really even know what they want to do with their life and they feel really stuck, which is, I think most of us are at that point, even me now, all the time. I think we're at that point where we don't know what we want out of life. And I think that's really what I'm kind of trying to say in this, is that it doesn't matter if you don't know what you want out of life. Just do something, anything. If you're happy with your life 100%, great, fabulous. Even 90%, brilliant. But if you're not and you're sat watching vlogs on a night thinking, I wish I could do that, then this is for you, because I want you to think about what you want out of your life. And I guess sometimes I wish in my life that somebody would have sat in front of me and given me permission to think about that, because I think sometimes when we're a parent or we're a spouse to somebody or we're an employee or whatever we might be, all these different roles that we have in life, we kind of feel these responsibilities to all those roles, and we never really prioritise what we want, because sometimes we feel we can't or we shouldn't or we'd be judged or whatever it might be. And I really wish at some point somebody would have said to me, what do you want to do? Or why don't you take a risk? Or why don't you make a change? And it's okay to do that. And that doesn't mean dumping everything and running off into the sunset. Reese would tell you it does, but it doesn't. It can be a little tiny change that you make, just to kind of set yourself free a little bit and let yourself explore what you do want out of life. And if you've got a bucket list of things you want to do, great, absolutely fantastic. But how are you going to achieve them and what you're waiting for, So I think that's why I'm doing this. I feel things a lot from people around me, and I'm quite an empathic person. I think that's the word for it, where even if it's somebody sat on a table next to me in a restaurant and I overhear a conversation, I go home worrying about it, I think that's why I kind of want everybody to just live their life like to the fullest that it can be, so that you get the best out of it. And I think when you've got an illness like what I've got and you suffer and struggle with things, disability is one of those things that you think, well, I can't do this because of X, Y and Z, and I won't be able to, it'll be too difficult for me or whatever it might be. And it does put restrictions on you when you're not well, it does. But also, there's a part of it, and I know a lot of people will be screaming at me when I say this, but there's a part of having a disability that also gives you something good, and it's a mindset. Part of it is mindset. I've discovered that over years and years of struggling with things, that part of it, a big part of it, is mindset. And the way that I look at life and laugh through things, even when it's tough, is that I think to myself, well, I'm blessed in a way, because I see the small things in life that other people don't see. And I appreciate the small things in life that maybe other people wouldn't. Because I know that there might be a time when I won't get to experience that anymore, maybe sooner than other people. I always think I'll live forever. I always think I'll live a really long life, but I think it does open your mind to thinking that life is short, I guess, and that you have to grab those moments while you can. And if that's for the next 40 years, fantastic. I've lived another 40 years, grabbing every moment, brilliant. But if for any reason it turned out where it wasn't, and the last few months have really kind of brought that home to me, then I've lived as many years as I can, grabbing life by the horns. And I think that's something that we just take for granted, is life. And I don't want you to do that. I don't want anybody watching this to do that. And particularly the people that this is aimed for, Well, no. I don't want you to do that. I want you to keep travelling, keep living life to the fullest that you can, and keep broadening your horizons and taking risks. So if you're sat watching this now, and who am I to tell, I'm sat here thinking to myself, who am I to tell you anything, right? And I get that, I do get that. But if you're sat watching because you like watching Romany pirates and you just need somebody to say, it's okay, well, I'm doing that now. I'm telling you that now. And I'm hoping that it'll make a difference for somebody, just one person out there that just needs to hear it. It's okay. It's okay for you to decide to make a change. It's okay for you to rethink your life. It's okay for you to take a risk. It's okay for you to tick one thing off your bucket list. It's okay for you to take one tiny step towards living the life that you've always wanted to live. It's okay, because you've probably got 40 summers left like me, right? So whether you've got 40 summers left, whether you've got 20 summers left, whether you've got 60 summers left, it's not a lot, is it? When you think about it like that. So make every single one of those summers count. Every single one. Have you got anything to add? Any words of wisdom?
I have actually. Hang on a second. There it is. So this is a poem I wrote one morning a while back. It's called Woke Up. Woke up this morning, it's my birthday. I'm 25. I thought, this is alright. I'm glad I'm alive. Mate says to me, what are you going to do with your life? I says, I don't know. I'll figure it out when I'm 35. Woke up at age 35 with dreams and ambitions. I thought, this is alright, because I've still got time to do all the things I want to do in this never-ending life. Going to a job that I hate to pay for the car and the mortgage, and you know, there's bills to pay, but I've still got time. Woke up this morning, I'm 50. Yay, happy birthday to me. Mate says, hey, you never went on that safari. I said, I know, but I'm okay. I'm saving for my retirement, because you know, that's what you do, isn't it? And it doesn't matter anyway, because I'm going to live forever, so I'll definitely do it one day. Woke up the other day, it's the 5th of May, and I'm 65. Only a few more years of work, I thought, and then it'll be my time to do what I want, for me to be finally free. It excites me so much, because you know, I've worked all my life to be able to do the things I want to do and see the things I want to see on this planet, and there's no rush, because it'll go on into infinity. It's today. It's finally here. 3 people said, all the best, mate. Enjoy your retirement. You've earned this. Now go and book that safari. That dream you've always wanted to do. Go breathe the air, climb that mountain, feel the freedom on your back. I thought, this is going to be bloody brilliant, this. Gave myself a pat on the back. Woke up today, the air feels clean. Had a big stretch and the sun was shining. Looked down at my feet. They weren't there. I said, what the hell, man? What's going on? My mate from earlier comes. He goes, I told you to book that safari, lad. It's too late. My name's Jesus. Now walk through that gate.